Welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Monday, July 14th. Time for some industry insights. I've got my co-host, Brent Hutto, with me. We've also got a special guest from truckstop.com today. We've got a lot going on, so we are going to get right to it. Brent, good morning.
Good morning, JR. How are you?
Good. Are you going to be joining us in the chat room today?
I am. Like I had a problem last week, I seem to have a problem logging into my own account. So I'll just stand by. I'll see if I can figure this out.
All right.
But yes, I'm dialing in somehow.
All right. Well, I'll keep an eye out for you there. We had a little emergency drill here this morning. It was about 30 minutes before showtime. I was all set up, making my final show notes, and the power went out.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so I am in the coach with the backup plan.
Well, there you go. That's like every good Boy Scout should have a good backup plan.
It's good to be prepared.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I can actually see over in the house. The power may have come back on now. But, once it goes out once, you can't trust it for a while.
Oh, yeah?
I think I'll just stay on the backup plan.
So you have the coach down at the cabin at the homestead?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually, when I'm out here, I usually stay in here and pretend I'm camping.
Wait a minute. Isn't that called glamping?
Kind of. It is much, it's more luxurious than the house is, that's for sure. The house is kind of rustic, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually in a place in a cabin as well.
Well, there you go.
I'll show you a picture of it.
Yeah.
And I'm actually I'm in Fort Jones, California, and where our son is working. Jude, who is a major fan of diesel, our son, and he's working at a place called Jay's Ranch this summer, and we came up to visit him because he said I'd love to see my parents, so we came up to visit him. So it's been great.
Yeah,
it's in northern California. It's almost Oregon.
Oh, what's the closest town?
Wairika.
Wairika. Yeah, exactly. Wairika. I know it well. You're not far from Weed.
No, not far at all from Weed. Yeah,
right.
Which is always funny when you're, this is a camp I've taken my children to when they were younger. They always think it's funny. Dad, can we stop in Weed?
That cabin looks pretty rustic.
Sure. Yeah. It's super rustic. I think it was built in like 1800 something. I think it was maybe the original cabin on the property here, and they converted it to a little Airbnb, and it's great, man. We're enjoying it.
Yeah,
a lot. It feels like little Kevin Rutherford homestead.
There you go. So, have I ever mentioned the program called Harvest Toast with you?
Harvest Toast. No, you have not. Toast.
This is something we did when we were full-time. So Harvest Toast is in a sense, it's kind of like the Airbnb for RV spots. So it's a little bit of a different business model, but you pay an annual fee. It's less than $100. And then the properties that are listed for RV parking, I think they're all free. I don't think anybody charges. But the way they do it is it's a lot of really cool places like small wineries, small organic farms, small roadside stands and stores with some parking. They don't usually have any kind of hookups at all. It's just all dry camping, but it's free. I mean, once you have a membership, you just look up. They have thousands of locations around the country, and they're in cool spots. We used it a lot when we were full-time. So once we had the property out here, we became a host. So we had a guest last night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they just pull in and park out here on the homestead and hang out. The guest today or last night has a very cool 3-legged dog, Jojo.
That's like the Parks and Rec dog. That's Evie Dwyer's dog, which is named Champion.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah,
JoJo's,
Parks and Rec.
I don't know what, JoJo's a mixed, obviously, breed. Really tall, kind of lanky. So, and it missing one front leg. He gets around great. As soon as I met him, he stood up, put his one paw on my shoulder and just looked right in my eyes, then laid his head on my shoulder. Great dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you got to. Do you know the story on how he became a three-legged dog?
I have no idea.
Oh gosh, we got to know that.
Wow.
I mean, that's cool to be a three-legged dog. No, it's not cool, but I mean, it's neat. It's interesting to be a three-legged dog.
Seems very happy. So he's a good dog.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
that's cool.
So we have a guest today, don't we?
We sure do. We have an excellent guest today. One of my absolute favorite people at truckstop.com. And let me tell you why she's one of my favorites. So she came to us from when Truckstop bought the company that she worked for. And, you know, when you buy companies, you inform, the company, you inform Truckstop on, what the product, how the product worked, everything. And she was the one that did the demo, like the show and our entire company on how the product works. And I was amazed at how much passion she had for how that product helped the customer. And since day one of meeting her, I've just been like, okay, this is an individual that loves transportation, that loves helping people, and loves serving people. And so anybody that's like that, KR, I'm a fan of. And so I'm super excited to have her on the show today. She's just does an excellent job in taking care of people in trucking.
Well, what do you say we introduce her and bring her in?
I say you bring her in. Let's do it.
The Director of Customer Success. So let me go find all the right buttons to push so we can bring her in here and talk to her. Taryn, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Great to have you here. Where are you coming to us from this morning?
I am coming from a cloudy Austin, Texas. I am not glamping, which sounds like that was a big topic this morning.
It was. I am glamping in Gifford Pinchot National Forest.
Sounds beautiful.
It is a beautiful morning. Blue skies, sunshine, nice and cool. It's probably going to warm up to about high 70s today, virtually no humidity. Doesn't get much better.
It doesn't sound like it. I'm in humid Austin with a high of 90 today.
Ooh, so. And cloudy.
Yeah, and cloudy.
Nice.
Got it.
Nice.
All right. So tell us about your day at truckstop.com. What do you spend your days doing?
Yeah. The day is always busy. It's always fun. I oversee customer success. So a lot of different hats to wear, which is very fun in itself. A lot of my day is focused around the post-sale customer, right? So a big focus, if not the biggest focus, is how are we continually driving value for our customers? How are our customers' experience with truckstop.com? And how are we ensuring that their questions are being answered, they're being serviced, and that they are trusting us with the products that we are offering? So a day could be, talking to the team and learning about our carriers and Freight Match and different areas of how we can drive them to get more utilization out of it. There's a focus with RMIS as well. So a day is busy with a lot of different hats, but at the forefront of it, it is how are we driving value for our customers.
Got it. Well, you've got a big job because there's a lot going on at truckstop.com. I mean, I think one of your biggest challenges really is making people aware of all the value they're paying for and may not even know exists.
Yeah, I don't look at that as a challenge. I look at that as an exciting opportunity to really get sticky with our customers, right? And then to look at the overall strategy of how we're doing that. And a lot of that comes from our own product knowledge and getting the news out there about all of our features that we can offer to help drive the value for our customers.
There you go. I see it as a challenge. I like your approach, but because
Hey, Kevin, you see what I mean about her attitude?
I know.
It's great.
I know.
Her attitude is the best. Right? Yeah, it's the best.
Gotta love that. So, people, the owner operators, small carriers I deal with, they're busy. They've got a lot going on. They're not always really big into technology. They see it first as a load board. I got to get freight. I got to go. I got to get freight. And, I try to convince them there's so much there that brings you so much value that you just got to slow down a little bit and learn it. Learn what's there, start to use it, because there are just incredible tools.
Yeah, and part of that too is, right, you're always on the go. You don't have time. You got to get to the next load. You're getting held up at a shipper or a receiver. You got to keep moving. So that's, again, where my team will come in as we're talking to our carriers, right? And some of the features, I don't know, if you saw, there was a viral video going around, and I talk about it with everyone, of an owner-operator who had just started out his career, and he had come to truckstop.com. And I think one of the biggest challenges, especially for owner operators that are coming out just starting, is they can go on a load board, right? And then they start calling brokers. They spend all their time looking for a load, and then they get to the broker and they say, oh, we have a minimum authority of 90 days, right? And you feel like you finally have gotten it, and then you get shut down, right? It's so defeating. And this owner operator who was talking about our age authority filter, that is so nice, especially for newer carriers coming out, is that they can go to truckstop.com, they can use Freight Match, and it will address the frustration for new authority carriers. It allows them to filter loads by the broker's authority age requirement. Think about how easy that is, right? So there's this old mindset of, I'm so busy, I can't embrace technology, but that's part of what my team does, is try to bring these features that we have that will make carriers' lives a little easier to find loads, right, to keep their business going.
Well, I love that you brought that one up.
Kevin, hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Before we go any further, our webinar on the 16th, what's it about? What's the title this week? How to choose profitable freight.
Yes,
so great to have Karen on today.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm glad she started with this topic, because there was becoming a mindset that I had, owner-operators leased to carriers wanted their authority, and they were in this mindset. They would ask me, well, how do you even get started if no one will load you when you have new authority? And I said, well, stop, because that's absolutely not true. Oh, no, I heard my friend's got his authority and he can't get loaded. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, it doesn't mean nobody does it. Maybe there's a lot of it going on, and freight fraud made it worse. But I promise you, there are brokers out there that will load you. There are ways that you can convince brokers to load you. You've got to sell yourself. I said, if you run up against a carrier or a broker and they're large and they've got strict policies, well, maybe not. But there's an awful lot of brokers out there, and you will get loaded if you know how to work the system and do this. And having that tool to just filter by that is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I think that's one of the hardest parts about becoming a new driver, is that you don't know where to start, right? So partnering with trusted brands that can help you and help you guide your way as you're getting started is really important.
Absolutely. So it seems like there's always something new and exciting going on over there at Truckstop. What's new and exciting recently?
Yeah. Well, our founder, Scott Boscrip, is back, which is always very exciting to have him. So super excited to have Scott back as the interim CEO. And we have some really great things coming. Scott is focused on bringing back the innovation of Truck Stop. And it was founded, right, to help carriers and brokers in the spot market. So there are some really exciting things coming. We just released the Authority Age filter, which I talked about. I love that filter. I can't stop talking about that. Yeah. It is a great one. And we have some backhaul search, which is another really great tool to have in FreightMatch, right? Think about it. You're always looking for your next backhaul. You have to plan your routes out. So having, again, a convenient swap icon in FreightMatch, and then more coming in FreightMatch, again, which is super exciting, is the lane suggestion, which will be great for carriers. That, again, ease of use. They can go in, they can see lane suggestions based on where they've moved. So exciting things, definitely, with our carriers at the forefront of it.
Excellent. All right, Brent, what's new in your world this week? We haven't really heard yet.
You talking about me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's see what's new in my world this week. Well, I'm spending a lot of time talking to Scott Musgrove about products and things that we can bring out, things that are creating more opportunity for carriers out there. That's one thing. So that's I'm spending a tremendous amount of time. So if anybody, when Taryn was talking about Scott is an innovator. And so what an innovator means is that they're never satisfied with the products that are already out there for somebody. They're always bringing out new things. A lot of like Kevin Rutherford, the person I'm talking to you right now. So, or Wes. But, that's fun. That's a lot of fun because, for me, and you know this, man, how much I love carriers and owner operators. Anything that can build more opportunity for them, to me, is exciting. So that's fun. As far as that, and then as you know, like I said, I'm in this old cabin, which is really cool. So if you here, I'll give you a little. Oh, way to go! Wait, for some reason, it was. I think I'll. There we go. When this cabin is kind of cool. It's kind of very, very, very old.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Looks a little bit like the homestead. The bedroom is actually interesting because the bedroom, it feels like they might have stored food in there.
Oh boy,
or something like that.
Used to be the pantry.
The walls, I think so. The walls here are like 15 inches thick. Yeah. So they're not. It's not like an old cabin. They're very, very thick. So I'm sure that was the way they warded off some of the elements that are out there. So that's what's been going on that, and then. We're doing a bunch of crazy things at Truck Parking Club as well. We had a big announcement. We announced
saw that
a new investment partner to come into us, which is really, really big because of what they do in the industry. And so we started this process of talking to them about 6 months ago when I first got in, and they said that they would love to be part of helping to solve the problem of truck parking out there. And so we finally got to an agreement with them. And so we announced just this past weekend that CatScale is now a investment partner into Truck Parking Club. So there's just so much going on, with what we're doing inside of transportation that makes a lot of fun because CatScale has tremendous distribution, tremendous connection to the market.
That really is exciting, but I think we need to make this very, very clear. With this new partnership, you will not be parking overnight on the scales. That has nothing to do with this.
No.
We just want to make that clear.
Very clear. Yeah. No, that's not going to happen. Yeah. I don't think Delia and Will Moon Meyer would appreciate anybody parking on the scale.
No, that's not how this is working.
So lots of great things, but I'll tell you the thing that and this is why I love having Taryn on today because her passion to really just help carriers. She's been in the industry. This isn't her first rodeo, as we say. She's been in the industry for more than a decade, if my memory's serving me right, Taryn. And I think I'm right about that. But yeah.
Well, Taryn, then
100 dog years is what I like to say.
we've got to go back and hear your story. Then I always like to know how people got into the industry, what they're doing, that kind of thing. I've lived in the industry my whole life, grew up in it, been doing it my whole life. So I always love those stories. You just with the dog ears thing, we have one of the things that's really big out here in the Pacific Northwest are microbreweries. Like they pop up everywhere. They pop up in people's garage. They're no matter how small the town is, we don't have a single traffic light in our town, but we have 2 big microbreweries. Like good-sized microbreweries with their own restaurants, the whole shop. We don't even have a traffic light. But one of them here, another one that's got a fantastic restaurant. I'm trying to remember what they have glasses and shirts that say, I've only had one in dog beers.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so Taryn, give us the lowdown. Give us the history.
Yeah. I mean, 100 dog years, right? If I'm doing the math, again, it feels like my whole life. I got into logistics right out of college. Again, did time entering the workforce. All my friends were worried if they were going to get a job, and a large brokerage came to one of my classes, and I was like, yeah, sounds interesting. I'll go in for an interview. I went in for a 4-hour interview. I had no idea what I was actually seeing, sitting on the carrier floor, listening to carrier and customer conversations. I had to sell knives, I remember, on the spot. And they called me 2 days later and offered me a job. And I thought, great, I have 8 more months before I graduate. I don't have to worry about getting a job. Sure, I'll come do it. And little did I know that would evolve into a very wonderful career. So I started out as a carrier rep for many, many years. So again, really understanding the carrier side of the business, right? And building those carrier relationships, helping my carriers get across the country. Saw a shift in the industry with tech coming, so I then made my way into tech. I ran a carrier success team for a SaaS brokerage company, which I absolutely love doing that as well. Again, driving value for our carriers. And then, as Brett had mentioned in my intro, I was part of the FreightFriend acquisition for Truckstop.com. So I made my shift to customer success, but again, still really understanding how to drive value for both brokers and carriers, right? FreightFriend was built on a private marketplace for loads for carriers and to help brokers build a relationship with carriers. And I absolutely loved it. I loved working with the brokers and the carriers, and then have evolved at Truckstop.com. So it's been a really great career trajectory. But again, 100 dog years.
There you go. And that's certainly our mission here, is just to keep working on that relationship between, specifically for me, small brokers and small carriers. Mm-hmm. Brent and I have talked about this for a couple decades now. I think it's by far the most efficient way to move freight. And it's just shocking to me how bad or just plain non-existent that relationship can be. And it's nice to have some tools and some support and continue to work on that.
Yeah. And, that's when I look at this industry, right, and how it's evolving with technology and all the different products that you can drive value. At the end of the day, it's a relationship-driven industry, right? So you still need to have those relationships.
And it needs to stay that way. I am seeing a big push already, and I knew this was coming. It seems to me like this first big round of AI in our industry, and I'm seeing it in a lot of other industries, I think it's somewhat misguided. A lot of the attempts with AI are immediately to cut jobs and cut cost. And kind of replace the relationship with all these AI tools. And I just think that's short-sighted. And I know there are companies out there that get it, they're working on things, but some of those early AI products looked like they were just trying to replace humans and replace the relationship. And my point has always been, this technology is great to enhance the relationship, but don't ever use it to replace it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way to put it. And AI is prevalent, right? It's coming out. We're seeing it everywhere. And it's an amazing tool, right? When you utilize it and weave it in properly. But at the end of the day, I still believe that a carrier wants to pick up the phone and talk to a person that they have a relationship with.
Yes,
Right.
we all do. We all do.
Yeah,
Nobody.
they're not delivering yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to think.
AI.
Right. Nobody wants to think we're going to spend our day talking to AI.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are some excellent uses of it. I've been deep into it for a long time. I'm excited about it, but I can also see these early attempts are really just that quick fix. Here's what it does. Oh, look, we don't need 3 people in this department anymore. We can do it with a half a person now. Why not expand instead? It's kind of what my thought is. We have this great tool that allows us to be more productive. Let's expand.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. And how do we be more efficient with it?
Yeah.
To move faster.
Yeah, exactly. Smarter. I mean, Truck Stop is a data company, and AI is incredible with data. So I'm sure there's exciting stuff going on around that.
Yeah, Kevin, I think about like the negotiation process. And even though it is personal and it should be personal and it should stay personal, there's still an element of something that makes it a little bit challenging for the small carrier, which is speed. You need to be able to negotiate quick because the best freight moves fast, right? So how would you, and look, to Taryn's opinion on this too, how would you leverage, say, AI to help you move faster in getting the freight that you want?
You know, in reality, this may sound a little crazy, but I don't think it is at all. I've struggled forever and you know this, Brian, I've tried to teach this forever, understanding that the price is primarily supply and demand. I mean, I've put numbers on it, nothing scientific. 90% is driven by the market. The other 10% is your ability to negotiate and provide real value. Well, in some ways, I hope that negotiation piece actually gets smaller. One of the things we've identified, I've said it for years, the small carrier is always at a disadvantage. For a lot of reasons across the board. You know, the assessment tool I was telling you about last week takes this into account. We assess an owner-operator's understanding of the market, understanding of how rates and lanes fluctuate, understanding the negotiation process. That's a tough hurdle. We've also identified over the years 2 totally different personalities and sets of strengths. Brokers tend to be salespeople. They tend to be outgoing. They negotiate freight from both sides all day long. It's what they do. They have access to information. They have all day to look at it. Now we look at the owner-operator who's trying to negotiate with that person. The owner-operator does not have, they have access to the data through some of your tools. They don't have the time. They don't have the understanding of it. They don't really want to take the time to learn how to understand it. It moves fast, and they always feel like they're kind of getting the short end of the stick on the negotiation. I agree with it. We've done everything we can to try to help educate people so that they can do better. But in a sense, since most of it's data anyway, AI will be better at analyzing all the data in real time, really fast. And we can kind of come to a very reasonable price, I believe, without a lot of negotiation. You know, from both sides. Look, here's the market, here's this lane, here's what's happening right now. Here's a fair price for both of us. Let's just get past the price and move on. Let's provide value to our customer now. Let's make sure we've got the load details handled, which again, AI can assist us with that. There's a lot of load details that get dropped in the transaction and cause problems for everybody later on. So I'm excited about using AI in that way and allowing the broker and the carrier to focus on providing value to the ultimate customer, the shipper and receiver.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. I also think years back, we saw something like when Book It Now became really prevalent, right? Where it was trying to take the negotiation out and carriers could just log in and press Book It Now, right? So I think more enhancement around that as well.
Yeah, and that's really, that was kind of a precursor to what I think is possible now. And tools from both sides using AI. I mean, I've built several AI agents in a lot of ways. I could see one that I could build that would allow me to analyze loads a lot faster from a carrier point of view. Based on, Brett, you and I have, how long have we talked about the load profitability calculator? That kind of stuff becomes very real again. With AI, that becomes a lot more feasible. That allows me to look at loads specifically based on my numbers.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at, Kevin, which is, okay, and here's the something that and Taryn and helps the team. Now, when she says customer success, she means like how well are the carriers, how well are the brokers that are utilizing the TruckStop system, the TruckStop.com system. So her job is to make sure they're using it well. So to me, when I think about my history with TruckStop, I've been over 13 years, and so I look at it and go, okay, well, if the number one thing that an owner operator does when they come on the load board is they organize the freight by rate, which means that shows them what the rate is in the market. And I know that the best freight has all the information on it, and it can move as fast as 60 seconds. So you don't have long to make a decision on things on like beginning the negotiation with somebody. So to me, it's one of these things of how are you able to get the type of freight that you want in the negotiation. So, but that sort of back and forth with the broker needs to move quickly because they're highly transactional. They move quickly. They want to move. So to me, if there's a way you can employ some AI into it where you can get the negotiation started faster, because maybe you're moving, maybe you're in transit, maybe you're somewhere else. And, but to be able to get that moving faster, to me, it would be a huge benefit for owner operators.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. I always say time is money, right? You have to move. Speed is your friend.
Yes.
And so I think AI can definitely contribute to that.
Well, boy, it sure can. Things can happen pretty darn fast with AI. It's just incredible how much data it can analyze quickly and from so many different angles.
Yeah.
So, yes, I am excited. All right, Taryn, before we wrap this up for today, what else would you like our small carrier and owner-operator audience to know?
There are exciting things happening at TruckStop.com, right? We are continually delivering even more features to continue to drive value. So we are focused on our innovation and continuing to be a trusted partner. So if any more information they would like, TruckStop.com, we have blogs all the time that are being released to help carriers. Reach out to me directly. LinkedIn is a great place to reach me. I'm always happy to talk shop with carriers and talk our products to help drive value for them.
Fantastic. Well, all right. We certainly appreciate you joining us and giving the update. Great to meet you, and I'm sure we'll be working together.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care. All right. We are going to open the phone lines. And
oh, fine.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Looks like we've got a call coming in.
So nice to see.
I might need to hold on one second. My body decided on Thursday that I was going to take a break, whether I wanted to or not. It decided to. I've been fighting it all weekend. Last week I was back to those 18-hour days, and if I wasn't working on a project for work, I was out putting up fences or doing something, and I just kept saying, well, one more day, then I'll take a break. Then I worked right through the weekend a couple times, and on Thursday I woke up about 3 a.m, and I knew something was wrong, and my body just said, no, it's about time you're going to take a break. So my voice is still a little rough this morning.
Well, I'm sorry about that, man. That's a drag. I'm feeling pretty good out here. I'm feeling pretty good out here in Northern California. So it's up about 3,000.
I really want to educate myself on that aspect.
Yeah, I think to me the biggest advice I can give you on negotiations is, Have you ever heard the old saying, bringing a knife to a gunfight? Have you ever heard that saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So the broker has a tremendous amount of market data. So they know they put a price out there that they think will attract enough owner-operators to ask about the freight or inquire about the freight. But they've got all the market data. They don't just know what their rate needs to be. They know how many loads are in that lane where they're posting that marketplace, and then that lane where they're posting that freight. And they know how many loads how many trucks are actually moving that freight or are open to moving that freight to the destination it's going to. So they know all the negotiation information that you have access to if you utilize a load board like Truckstop, because you can understand the same thing. So I want you to bring a gun to a gunfight, where you have the same data they do. And so if you know that you have an advantage in a certain market, then you can negotiate for higher rates. If you know that things are equal in that marketplace, then you've got to kind of move faster, because there's going to be a lot of equality between the broker and the carrier. So you need to move fast. If you don't have any leverage, you still there?
Right.
Jason?
Yeah.
Okay,
You kind of cut up on me at the end there.
Sorry, the live stream got cut off for something must be going on in Kevin's end. But if you know that in the marketplace you're going to, if you don't have leverage, this means you got to move super, super fast if you want that piece of freight, because others are going to negotiate on it too. But my point to you, Jason, is this. I'm talking to fellow Alabamian here. So the thing is if when you arm yourself with the same data that your customer, the broker is your customer, is going to be negotiating with you, then you can settle with them really easily in a fair, in a fair way. And I realize business is not fair. It's what you negotiate. You don't get things in business because it's fair. You get things because of what you negotiate. But my point to you is that if you have the same data they do, then you can say, well, hey, I know in that market right now that there's 100 loads needing to be moved, and there's only 6 trucks looking for freight in that marketplace. And the broker will go, okay. And so there's not a lot of trucks looking. You need to move that freight right now. Can we negotiate for 5 cents more, 6 cents more, 7 cents more per mile, or whatever dollar amount? So my point is that you have that information. If you have access to a load board like Truckstop, you have access to that data. So when you're talking to somebody and you're talking in the same language they are and the same data they're looking at, then guess what? It's easy for you to get agreement on their end that, hey, isn't this fair? And they're going to kind of go, yeah, you're right. And that's how you negotiate. You can't negotiate from the standpoint of like, you need me, because that doesn't work. What works is when you work within the data and the market condition on that lane, on that load at that time. And when you negotiate, Jason, from that standpoint, you're going to be able to get the best rate on that load, on that lane that you possibly can get. And everybody feels good about it. The broker's going to feel good about it. You're going to feel good about it. And that's how it works out best for you, because in any negotiation, both parties need to think, I got the best I could. And that's the key negotiation. That is the key. And this is everybody in the tribe out there. That is the key to negotiation, is understanding the market in which you're going to negotiate in. And I'm telling you this, I can't say this as politely and as friendly and as Alabama as I can to you. It doesn't matter what your need is. That has nothing to do with negotiation. It has everything to do. The thing that you need to keep in mind is the biggest thing is that everything is what is the condition of that market at the moment you're negotiating. If you can do that, you'll always do well. No matter, I've just seen it. So that's my advice to you, pal.
Yeah. And I'm trying to wrap my head around that, and it falls back to what my overall costs are too. It needs myself out again.
Hey, but if you don't know what your costs are, you don't need to be negotiating, because you don't know you don't know what you're negotiating for. You just don't.
Right.
And so no, look, please invest in what Kevin's doing and take the time. This is why the Rhodes Scholar program and the CMC, it's just when you take the time to diagnose what your business set is. In other words, how you're going to operate, what your costs are, how how do they change in certain arenas of the marketplace, whether you're out west, whether you're in the southeast, how does that work, type of freight. When you know those things, man, you are a weapon when you negotiate. If you don't know them, you're just kind of wandering around in the dark.
Hey,
and
Brent.
Nobody wants that. I know Kevin.
Well, don't get me mistaken. I do know what my costs are. I think they're flubbed because I don't understand the variable aspect of how it relates to less miles.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
So a couple ways to look at this, Brent. That analogy, I'll take it a step further.
Yeah.
When you have the data, you're the weapon. When you don't, you're the target.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
So, Brent, there's two ways we have to look at this. One, we absolutely have to know our cost, but I've seen this approach over the years in our industry where they stop there. Well, this is my cost. It doesn't matter. Yeah. There's no such thing as a backhaul. I've heard those. My costs are the same no matter what. Your costs are the same, but in reality, your costs don't matter to the market. That's the one thing we have to remember. They matter to you, and we need to know them, but they don't matter to the market. There was a show on Sirius for years where the whole formula was, well, you just figure out your cost and you add this much. That should be your rate. Well, good luck with that, because that doesn't fly in the real world, and you are going to find lanes where the average that freight moves in that lane doesn't cover your cost. And you can stand around all day and go, but this is my cost. Doesn't matter. So your cost matters to you, nobody else. We use it for a lot of reasons. So there's two parts. There's your cost. There's knowing what the market's willing to pay in that lane today or this morning, because this afternoon it could be different. That's how dynamic our market can be.
Yeah, and it is. It is.
And I'll give you a little peek under the tent. This program is really comprehensive. It's all of my experience, but even better than that, it's all of everything I've learned about business where I don't recreate the wheel. So all the major business education in the program comes from somewhere else. It comes from all the things I learned how to do from books. The 7 Habits is really weaved tightly into the whole program. The standout assessment, so you understand your strengths and you start to learn how to understand other people's strengths, which is a great negotiation tool. But I'll even give you a head start. All of the negotiation tactics that are weaved in and out of the story come from the book Never Split the Difference. I just think it's one of the best. Plus everything I learned from, I just forgot the name of the country. Keris? Is that the big company that does all the negotiation training? You always see them in the flight magazines. I think that's right.
Oh, Keris? Like Keris with...
Okay. Is that who that is, or am I just making that up?
I'll look it up.
I went through their training
FJI.
Yeah, exactly. I went through their training so long ago, and then over the years, I've really built their training into specifically for owner-operators and small carriers, and then really kind of finalized it and tweaked it with Never Split the Difference. So I've taken all the best of the business books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that's all taught in the story as well.
Okay. I got another question for you, Kevin. You're not going to like this question.
Okay.
Can I get by without doing your self-assessment test?
You absolutely.
Because I don't really want to fork out the $300 now.
Okay, so hold on, because there was an early version of the prologue that went out where we really weren't thinking it was going to be widely. There is no charge for the assessment. That was part of the story in the prologue, but there really is no charge.
There you go.
So the assessment is part of the program. Not only one assessment, you get a reassessment every quarter, and there's no charge for that as well. The charge is the monthly fee. It covers all of it. So my question was going to be, yes, you can do the program without the assessment. It's completely voluntary. But why would you? And you said cost, but there really is no cost. When you're in the program, you'll get the initial assessment and then a follow-up every quarter while you're in the program.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to taking it then. So this is the second week of it, right?
Correct. Yeah, we are.
Okay.
So the beauty of this program, we structured it in a way that allows us to constantly update all of the material. So the way this gets delivered, when you sign up, whether you sign up now or 6 months from now, you start receiving the material 1 week at a time. So people that sign up 6 months from now don't get to jump in and go through all 6 months worth of material. It will be released to each person based on when they signed up. So we really don't want somebody binge watching. It's a year program for a reason. The material is spaced out for a reason. You learn better that way, and we can constantly update. There's some companies we're talking about partnering with where we would weave more of their material into the program, but we can update so that whoever signs up next week, make it a different first week than you got. And then anybody in the program can always go back to the new updated material as well.
Awesome. Nice. All right. So maybe Angie can help me out with this then, because like I said, I'm already set up with your profit gauges and your
perfect.
fuel gauges. I know your fuel gauges is free.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's linked to my email address and all that. So if I do sign up, I might still be paying for the profit gauges.
No, we're going to make sure you don't do that because you get everything included. So I'm going to put you back in the queue, and Angie will take care of you. We'll get you all set up. Brent, I know you've got a hard stop today, so we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, or we can take one more call if you want to.
No, we're pretty close. Are you and I? And we should go over some industry numbers and what else might be going on.
Right now.
You and I going to be talking with Scott this week?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me set up the time for that. That's something that I got to get with him on availability. So yeah, absolutely. Probably Wednesday, Thursday time frame, somewhere there.
Perfect. All right. So what do we got going on in the industry this week?
Well, this is a week after a holiday. Because any data I talk about is always last week, so it's just the last 7 days. So it's the week after a holiday. So freight goes down during the holiday. In other words, the freight availability goes down because truckers take time off too, and a lot of brokers do, and so the freight will go down, and then it'll come back up the week after. So week 27, which was just last week, we went from we had a 14.4% increase in the total amount of freight that was available in the market, and it's still 22%, which means it's 20%, almost 23% above the 5-year normal. So there's more freight in the marketplace. Well, so what happens prior to the holiday? Rates go up, and then then they go way up, and they did. They went up significantly in all the segments, and then after the holiday, rates will come back down to normal. So we've had rates decrease across the board. Van went down 17 cents because it went up to almost 220. Flatbed went down 7 cents. Refrigerator went down 23 cents because it had gone up like 30 cents per mile. Well, but still in the healthy range, 201, 246, and 243 for van, flatbed, and reefer. Volumes last week were high because what happened was they took freight out of the market. Brokers take freight out of the market on the holiday, right? The day before the holiday and then the holiday day, and then they put it back in the market. So right now the numbers are going to look like there's higher load postings in the market. So freight available and then rates decreasing, but just know that the market is just behaving completely normally. That's the most important thing. The thing that something you and I talk about all the time is the outbound tender reject index. So the contract marketplace. So that's the bigger part of the market. About 75% of the market is the contract end, and that's freight moved by middle-sized and large fleets in the marketplace. Still is robust. So 2 weeks ago, it was 744, so 7.44% of the contract rate was being rejected and renegotiated. Well, even last week, it was 6.69, which is 6.7%. So what does that tell us? It means that the marketplace is continuing to build strength and continue to get better and better when it comes to rates. But as with everything, it takes a long, long time inside of freight, which is because it's a large supply and demand marketplace. But still, here's something that I take away from this. Is the market behaving normally like it does during the holiday periods? That's important. And yet the answer to that is absolutely yes, because we need our marketplace to behave normally, because when it behaves normally, then we can get the most predictable rates out of it. And I like high rates too, because and better rates for owner operators. But what we want is predictable rates out of it, because then you can negotiate, as we just talked about with Jason, Kevin. When you can negotiate among predictable data and information, then you can get the best out of any piece of freight. And then maybe it's a great win for you, and maybe it's not as good, but it's as best as it can be.
I agree. I like it.
Amen. I love it. Well, I'm going to enjoy my day out here, hanging out with my son, and it's a really cool place. Everybody, go check out JH Ranch. I've taken all my kids there. It's an incredible place for parents to take their children. Anyways, great being on with you today, Kevin. Sorry about all the technical difficulties, and also sorry that you weren't feeling well.
Well, I do it to myself all the time. I knew I was pushing too hard, and every day I would say, one more day, and then I'll take a break. And then my body finally said, no, you're taking a break today. So it was I
love it.
I didn't do a whole lot over the weekend. That's hard. I don't even know if I know how to sit still anymore.
Well, I don't either. I mean, look, if I get sick, I shut down and I try to rebound as quick as possible. I'm a person that unless I'm like desperately sick, like I had pneumonia and then there was nothing I could do, but usually I'm a person, I recover best when I'm active. And even when I don't feel good, I'm still out doing something because I just feel like my body responds well that way. And but hey, when you got to shut the engine down, you got to shut it down.
Well, that was this weekend. I just needed to just chill for a bit. So I think I'm ready to hit it again. My voice is always a little rough afterwards, but we'll be all right.
Yeah. I got you. Well, cool. Great being on with you today. Great. Thanks for having Taryn on, and I love the discussion about negotiation as well, because it all comes back to, do you have a system that can get you the data, that can help you be the communication with your customer can be as balanced as possible? Because when it's balanced, people tend to work with each other a lot better, because there's trust that can be built, because there's not an inequality on one side. And to me, that's really important when you're looking to build your business. And it's something you and I have been talking about for a long time.
I like that you used the word system there. If you look at the Road Scholar, what we've done is we've taken the assessment. We measure every aspect of you, your strengths, your business, your situation, even your family connections, your knowledge. We measure everything. And then no matter what your score is, we have a system to improve it. That's what the whole Road Scholar was about. It was finally putting a system to all of this, so that you have a measurement, you have a plan, you reassess the measurement, and you watch it grow, and it's everything's taken care of. So,
well, Kevin, I tell you what, for me, and then I'll close with this. I don't care whether you've been trucking one day or 25 years. I learned this back when I was working with two of the greatest business leaders I've ever worked with, Pettis Randall and Mike Rowley. And Pettis and Mike used to say this all the time. And I know you believe in it as well. In anything, you always have to keep sharpening the saw.
Yes.
So if you've been around 20 years, take a refresher course. Start getting things, because you know what? You got to always keep improving it. But you got to, if you keep that saw sharp, it cuts the best. And the saw is you.
That's it.
You got to keep it sharp.
Have you ever watched the show The Prophet?
Yes, I love the guy. Great.
Yeah, so at the beginning of every show, he talks about this, and he just works this every time. It doesn't matter if he buys a business that sells key lime pies in the Keys, or is manufacturing trailers in the Midwest. He makes every business successful with the same plan. And it's the 3 Ps he talks about: people, product, and then process. And he has that business process. You just said system, process, system, same thing.
Process.
That's what we've created with the Rhodes Scholar program now. It is the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Hey, they're one of the greatest football coaches in modern history. Nick Saban, Alabama, won 6 national championships in a short period of time at Alabama. He always says it. Respect the process. Hey, you've got to stay focused on the process.
Did you happen to, probably not, but I'll ask anyway, did you happen to catch my Tuesday show last week?
I did not. I was getting ready to get out here, come to California.
Little trivia question. See if you notice this name from football. You ready?
Uh-oh. I'm ready.
Mel Blount.
Oh, Mel Blount. Sure, I know that name.
I had him on the show Tuesday.
You did?
Yes.
What a legend.
What a legend. Great conversation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you work that out?
So Bruce Mallinson from Pittsburgh Power.
Okay.
Obviously he was on the Steelers and the legendary Steelers, 4-time Super Bowl champs. He's in the
Steel Curtain.
Pro Football Hall of Fame. Was just outstanding cornerback. Somehow Bruce met somebody that knew Mel, and they got talking, and Bruce mentioned the radio show, and they said, boy, you should really talk to Mel because he now runs a ranch for troubled youth. He's been doing it since he retired.
I got to talk to him. I got to talk to this guy. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so he has got such a great story. I know you got to run, but his grandfather in the 1800s, and I didn't know, I was fascinated by this whole story. In the 1800s, it was illegal for a bank to loan money to a black person. Illegal. It's not that they just didn't do it, it was illegal. It's hard to imagine that, isn't it?
No.
But
bad decisions.
His grandfather must have been a pretty incredible person. He met a white local banker, it was in Georgia, convinced him to start lending him money to buy land. And the banker actually told him in the beginning, he said, look, I think you've got a great plan. I think you can make this work. I'll lend you the money. You can't tell anybody where this money came from.
Right.
I can't. What a strange time that must have been. But he ended up buying hundreds and hundreds of acres of farmland, and lots of kids back then. Mel was the youngest of 13, I think he said, and his mother inherited or was given, while his grandfather was still alive, was given like 100 and some acres. So he grew up working the family farm. And he said it's where he learned all his lessons about hard work and responsibility. And then he got, played great football in high school and got a scholarship. And he was, I'll probably get this wrong, but I think the year he was drafted by Pittsburgh, he was their 3rd draft pick that year. And I think he said it was behind Terry Bradshaw and Lynn Swann.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, they're all Hall of Famers. So
yeah.
That's the team I grew up watching football. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, unfortunately, I grew up watching them too, but I was a Cleveland Browns fan. So I told him I wouldn't hold that against him. I said, you just about ruined my childhood trying to watch football because you guys just pounded us every year.
Every year. They were so good.
They were.
Well, cool. Well, what a great story. I want to talk about meeting the guy. That'd be great.
He runs this ranch now for troubled youth. His son, believe it or not, owns a trucking company.
Get out of here. Well, that's not uncommon for football players to be involved in transportation,
Yep, runs frac sand around Pennsylvania, around the frac site. So we're going to get his son on the show. Right. Mel said he had such a great time. We can bring him back anytime. I'd love to get him back, and you can talk about your dad, and I think that'd be a great show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love it. That'd be fantastic. There he is right there. There's Mel Blanc.
There you go.
That's the guy.
He was a
Yeah. So, well,
big...
look, let's talk about that.
All right.
I gotta run. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Great being with you today, pal. You
All
got
right.
it. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right. Phone lines are
Okay.
open. It is a free-for-all. I've got a lot going on today. My voice is a little shaky, and I just ran out of coffee. But if you call, I'll pick up the phone. If you stop calling, I will get on with my day. Let's go to Ohio. Herschel, welcome.
Hi, Kevin.
Good
Can
morning.
you hear me all right?
I can. Go ahead.
Well, I have a question about microplastic, but I'll tell you this. You know, I told you that having the headset on was messing with my head.
Yes.
So I found a call and then the letters EZ. I found it on frickin' Amazon, believe it or not. And it's just a wired, looks just like a Blue Parrot with the one ear cup and the microphone. But it's got a 3.5 millimeter plug on it. And then I got an adapter with the Type-C, so it'll go into the iPhone.
Yeah.
This thing works really good. It doesn't seem to be messing with my head and making me wonky dizzy. I got to believe because I don't have a damn battery on the side of my head.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I've been trying to minimize all of that as well. I cut down on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and my phone isn't with me unless it needs to be, and I keep it on airplane mode a lot more. And I just try to think. This week, I started last week. I've been hacking and tracking and all year, and I decided, you know what, I'm just taking a break from all that. I took my Garmin watch off, not wearing any trackers, spending a lot more time outside away from technology when I'm not working. So just still continuing on that whole idea of detoxing, paying more attention to the other topic you're going to talk about, all the plastic exposure we have and aluminum exposure, and it all matters.
Okay, so when we talk microplastic, I understand the basis is the plastic leaches basically and gets into you because you drink, eat food out of it, whatever it is. I have been carrying refillable, my own bottles, and then fill it with my well water at home for years. So I thought, okay, so I'll get one of them tumblers that have the stainless steel on the inside.
Right.
And then get the stainless steel 1 gallon jug to carry in and just refill it. Is it really so critical and so dangerous, for lack of what else, that just simply drinking out of the stainless steel jug in the plastic straw they always give you that's hard as a rock so it don't break, is it that critical that even that plastic straw is going to screw you up?
Well, it's not going to screw us up. And the one thing I try to focus on is the idea that we're never going to be perfect at any of this. It's almost impossible to be. We're going to be exposed. But if our mindset is like you, I'm not going to drink out of plastic water bottles, no matter how convenient they are. I'm going to use a stainless steel tumbler. I'm going to use my own water. That's a huge improvement already. So I'm not going to get too crazy. Now, if I think about it, they do make stainless steel straws. I'll probably look around and find one that works with my big. Now, my new Yeti tumbler, the big one, doesn't use a straw at all, but the cap is plastic coated. The top is plastic. So it's almost impossible to get away from this stuff. So my goal is stay focused on it, eliminate it where we can, and I'm not going to worry about the little bit that's left over. Here's something interesting. I saw this report, and it came out of France, I think, and the headline was, "You'll be shocked when you find out which drinking vessel contained the most microplastics." So I'm like, okay, let's see if I'm shocked or not. Guess what type of container had the most microplastics in it? Think about the possible containers we would drink water out of, and tell me which one you think has the most plastic.
I'm going to say the plastic jug that they put milk in.
You would
That
think
sometimes
so.
put water in.
Yeah, you would think that it would be plastic
How about
containers.
a juice box?
So, how about
How
a
about
what?
the juice box?
Well, here's the thing.
Juice box.
If you think, okay, well, I'm not going to use plastic bottles, I'll use tin or aluminum cans, whatever. I think they're all aluminum now. They're all lined with plastic. BPA is a problem because all of our drink containers, boxes, cans, all of them are lined with plastic. That none of those are the ones that showed the highest levels of plastic, though. And it wasn't plastic.
Oh,
Wasn't plastic, wasn't aluminum. Nope.
A Capri Sun, that little bag that kids drink.
That would probably be a bad one, too, because they're lined with plastic, but that wasn't it either.
Styrofoam cup.
Nope. Glass bottles. And I thought, wait a minute, how is that even possible? Is there some sort of something in the bottling process? No, it turns out if you look at all the glass bottles, they come with painted caps, and paints are almost all made out of plastics. The paint is coming off the cap and getting into the liquid in the bottle.
I was going to say, because you just threw me a big wrench, because I actually put the question on the Tribe of the little lunchbox heaters that you can get,
Yeah.
Because I can't put a microwave in a day cab. I have to ratchet strap it to the roof.
Right.
I don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
So I bought a Hot Logic, and it's just a 12-volt plug-in, and it works really well. Came with a glass container to heat stuff in, and it does work. Works good. But I got to put my meat in a plastic container or a baggie to throw it down in my cooler and then put it in the glass. And I thought, now, if you tell me I can't use the glass to heat up my freaking steak, I'm just going to slit my wrist or something. I don't know.
No, you should be fine with that. But plastic or liquids coming in glass containers with painted lids show more plastic in the liquid than any other container. Now, it was a very small test, but it tells us, not, even if it turns out it's not the worst offender, it is still an offender. And obviously, it can be really bad.
And the bottles that I've been refilling all this time, when I bought them for the reason it said BPA free.
Well,
is that true? I don't know, but that's what it said.
Yes, it is. But here's the problem. When they take the BPA out, bisphenol A, they might put in bisphenol C, which is worse. So when we see the label, I know this is the problem. When you see the label BPA free, sometimes it's like the label gluten free. Yeah, it's gluten free. They're not lying. But what they replace the gluten with is worse. Turns out what they replace the BPA with many times is worse.
That's the same as saying Doritos are gluten free.
Exactly.
But let's not look at the chemical shitstorm that they are made out of.
Correct. So all the labeling, marketing slogans are almost always working against us. Oh, look, it's BPA free. I'll use that one. I do it. And then I realized, wait a minute. Yeah, it's BPA free, but, what does it have in it that's not BPA that's bad for us? So your method of, a stainless steel bottle or tumbler, well water, minimize the plastic. I know the lid and the straw are still plastic, but we at least are working in the right direction.
Yeah, when I'm at home, I just leave the lid off of the tumbler. But in the truck, the first bump, you know how the highways are, I'd get a shower. So I can kind of do that. It's okay.
Here's another one that makes me a little crazy. I really like my Keurig coffee maker. Now, I don't like the fact that the pods are all plastic and we, throw a bunch of plastic pods away that are going to be around, a couple of 100 years. So I got a permanent pod where you just fill it with your own coffee. I like that anyway. It's a little more work, but it's not a big deal, except the only pods they make for the Keurig 2.0, I've looked everywhere, they're all plastic. I thought, why can't I get a stainless steel or even a gold? A lot of times they'll use the really high-end coffee makers will use gold filters even. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go buy a good permanent K-Cup in stainless steel or gold. They don't make them. And the few that I did, I was wondering why I couldn't find many on the market, but I found a couple. I bought 2 of them. They absolutely do not work at all. You can't make a cup of coffee with them, period. I don't know how they can even sell these things.
Well, then now you throw up another point. I actually spend the extra dollars and I buy Dr. Wolfson's mold-free coffee from Honduras.
Right.
And it comes in a bean. You have to grind it up, so that's how the mold stays out more.
Right.
But you just said that, and then you think, okay, so you spend a little extra to buy the mold-free, the best coffee that you can buy, and you got a paper filter, which I don't know that that's really necessarily horrible. But you put it in a plastic thing that holds the filter, turn the pot on, and hot water goes through that plastic. Damn it, Kevin.
Yep. It's everywhere. And it's hard to get away from.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right. I think the Industrial Revolution should almost be renamed as the life-shortening revolution or something.
Oh, they're well,
because that's really what it is.
Well, and part of the problem was in our country, it was the Wild West. Our system of you allow any chemical you want into the system unless somebody can prove it's bad for you. They don't have to prove it's okay. Somebody else has to prove that it's bad. We have 4,000 food additives in our country, and Europe has 300.
Yes. Just the comparison of American Fruit Loop against Canadian Fruit Loop just blows my mind if you haven't seen that. It's unbelievable.
It is.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. So we've done it to ourselves, and it's hard to undo.
Well, all I can say is go get them RFK or no, it's not JFK. Damn it. What's his initials?
RFK Jr.
RFK, yes. JFK, that's the one that got shot in Dallas. Wrong guy.
Well, wait a minute. And RFK Sr. was assassinated too.
This is true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's confusing. The tragic family. Didn't one of their members, the family members, die in a skiing accident? And then we had the one that died in the...
Something like that.
Then we had the one that died in the small plane crash off the New England coast.
I wouldn't want to be a Kennedy.
No.
That would be scary.
Yeah.
That would be scary.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine what it's like to be RFK Jr. now. Holy cow.
Oh.
They've certainly turned on him, his whole family even.
He's like a walking steak in a crowd of hungry German shepherds.
Yeah. Yeah, they
will not leave that man alone.
Well, it's big pharma. I'm surprised it's not worse.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Kevin, I'll let you get somebody else. I know you probably got some. The whole plastic thing just amazes me.
I'm working on it, but boy, the deeper you look, the harder it is to get away from.
Yes, it is.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Iowa. Roger, welcome.
Hi, Kevin. Partly due to your suggestion, I was able to retire to help take care of my granddaughters, just so you know who I am. And last week, we went to the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. And the older girl, she's 16, she has a boyfriend that lives in Walcott, which is a few miles south of the truck stop.
Right.
So we went to the Jamboree and we were there for a while, and then we're going to go cool off at his house and go back for the fireworks at 9. And the weather radar lied to me all day. It's not raining at all. You look out, it's just pouring.
Yeah.
So I should have quit looking at it. And there was going to be a brief period of time when they were going to be able to get the fireworks in, and they did shoot off the fireworks. But we get there, and the boyfriend is looking for a friend of his, and we finally meet up and it starts to rain, and we duck under the tent where they serve you the big pork chop dinners, which there's 4 8-foot tables across and an aisle in the middle, and it's a big tent. And after a little while, standing in the middle, you're getting windblown rain coming on you, and then look down and the water's starting to pool up around our feet, and then it's starting to get deeper, and this is just not good. And the older girl has pretty significant asthma, and I really don't understand this. There's a strong wind blowing the rain in on us, but somehow there was a smell coming in that tent. I really don't know if it makes no sense to me that it could be diesel exhaust, but there was some chemicals floating in the water sometime. Anyway, ticked off her asthma, and she's getting worse and worse and worse. And the water is pretty close to a foot deep. There was actually a deputy that commandeered the shuttle bus, said, look, we got to get those people out of that tent. But it wasn't going to take us to where we parked, so we were just kind of being there. She finally said to me, we got to do something. And so I said, well, the only thing we can do is walk. We're all going to get drenched. Let's walk.
Yeah.
She couldn't make it out of the tent. I really didn't know what we were going to do. We were going to have to pick her up and carry her, and the bus comes back, and it was like, we just got to get on the bus.
Yeah.
So we got on the bus. As I walked by the deputy, I don't know if I've ever told you, but I'm a retired firefighter. So anyway, as I walked by the deputy, I said, look, granddaughter has severe asthma, and she's been triggered, and she's not doing good. I was trying to curry favor to get the bus to take us up closer to the vehicle.
Right.
And he picks up his mic, says, I got a medical emergency on this bus, and we got to handle it. And so anyway, it irritated her lungs. By the time EMS got there, she was 99% O2 sat, so she was doing good. But anyway, there isn't a whole lot of stories that I can find about the severe rain. The water was really deep. Okay, I'll shut up now. Go ahead.
Well, that show has a history of that. I've been there several times where the it's almost always hot and humid. That typical Midwest summer kind of weather, and then you'll get those afternoon storms. And I remember many shows where it's a river through there, and then you start thinking about it, that how big is their parking lot, and their parking lot. You think of all the trucks that leak coolant, diesel fuel, the oil. All the contaminants that are on the asphalt that then get washed off into the runoff water. That's what we've done to our world. As much as we've worked to try to clean things up, there was a time where our air pollution was much worse, but we live in a toxic world. And it is very, very difficult to get away from. So I can't imagine what was flowing in that water.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
this probably doesn't really relate to your show, but I just had to call and tell you.
No, it relates in a lot of ways. It's our industry is toxic. We're exposed to lots of toxins from the diesel fuel itself. We get it. If you've been in the industry, you get diesel fuel on your skin. I don't care how careful you are. I don't care what gloves you wear. You've been exposed to it. A lot of us never really thought about it. I mean, that kind of stuff never irritates my skin, so I never really thought all that much about it. I don't like to wear gloves when I work on vehicles. Now I think of all the chemicals I was exposed to there. Then we're exposed to the diesel fumes themselves. This is one of the places where, over the last couple of years, I get in more arguments with drivers who think it's okay to delete emission systems and that we should eliminate them. Nobody was more outspoken about how bad these systems were for over a decade. But I never wanted to get rid of them. I just wanted them to work better. We're finally at the place where they work better. We can buy new modern trucks, get great fuel economy, and have cleaner air. And I run up against people who think we should just get rid of all emissions. I don't think they were around when we had all mechanical engines and no emissions. Walking through a truck stop parking lot was a nightmare. your eyes would burn, your throat would burn. The fumes were horrendous. And I just think of what we did to our health with that. We spend a lot of time in our industry on the road and around vehicle exhaust. It is one of the hazards of our industry. So anything we can do to minimize it, we've got to do. Right? It's just like I was talking about. So this is absolutely part of our show. It's all about trucking, and it's about health. And we've got to do the best we can to avoid or minimize our exposure.
So I'll share with you back from the fire service, and I've been out of the fire service for 20 years. We had a guy that we always, a firefighter that we always joked at when we got on the fire truck. He'd be in the jump seat in the back, and he'd say something like, I'll buckle up good so that I don't fall off when I fall asleep. Well, he wasn't falling asleep. He had end-stage hydrocarbon poisoning from the things that you just said.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I think I remember just in the last couple of years, isn't there a big lawsuit now about the foams that you guys would use for fires, firefighting foams? I guess they found out that stuff's horribly toxic.
I wasn't exposed to. I was exposed to almost none of that. AFFF, aqueous film forming foam. I know there is what you just said, but I know very little about it.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a huge lawsuit that firefighters were exposed to this stuff for decades, and it's horribly toxic.
Sure, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just foam. You can walk through it.
Yeah,
no problem.
Right. That's we should all be far more suspicious about all of this stuff now. But they made it sound like, look, it's no big deal. We wouldn't use this if it was dangerous. No, you absolutely would. They've exposed us to so much dangerous stuff. Yep. It's insane.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one other thing, and I need to let you go, I'm sure you have calls, the DMSO.
Yes.
I tore up my shoulder on a fire every day, sometimes terribly. There's a little bit of DMSO once in a while. And I can't say that my shoulder doesn't hurt, but it's like night and day. It's changed my life.
Excellent. Your line's really breaking up bad. I think I got that, and I agree. We're doing more and more work with DMSO. Thanks for the call. I am going to move on. Phone lines are open. I will hang out as long as there's calls. When the calls stop, I'll stop. 855-950-3835. Hit that call now button on your app. Let's go to California. Jeremy, welcome.
Hi, Fearless Leader. Thanks. I'm surprised you don't have a nice espresso machine. Or maybe, I'm sure maybe you do.
I don't. I've never really gotten into the espresso machines. I'm looking for an alternative now. I really like Keurig. I like the single cup. I love the quality. I saw somebody on social media say, oh, if you can drink Keurig, you don't know what real coffee is. No, I do know what real coffee is. I do French press. I do pour over. I grind my own beans. I know
pour over.
Yeah, I know what a good cup of coffee is. Keurig makes a good cup of coffee. It really does, and it's I like I say, I can grind my own beans, or with the Four Sigmatic, I buy a pre-ground. I'm not sensitive to the mold toxins at all if they're there, but Four Sigmatic is mold toxin free as well. I just wish I could get away from the little plastic cup, and you can't. Nobody for the Keurig 2 makes anything other than plastic. And the couple that I found, I'm shocked that they even sell them. They just don't work. When you try to make a cup of coffee, the pressure builds up inside the cup. There's something wrong with the design, and all the grounds overflow into your coffee cup. It just doesn't work. And yet they keep selling them. But I don't know. I guess at some point I'm going to find some sort of a solution, because I hate putting my coffee through hot plastic every day.
pour over is the solution. I mean, at home, even in the truck, we do that. You know, we grind the beans and do pour over. The Keurig, it's kind of I'm sure they got the idea from espresso makers, you know, the pressure of the coffee in a little pot, in a little puck or pod. But
and it works. You get a good cup of coffee. Now, here's what I might switch to. I see Yeti now. So I love French press. I like French press better than pour over. The problem I always have with French press, most of them are glass, and you should let the coffee sit in there 3 to 5 minutes. The problem is with 3 to 5 minutes, the coffee's lukewarm. I don't want to microwave it, or I like really hot coffee. So then I switched to like a stone ceramic kind of French press. That helps a little, but it still doesn't stay hot enough. But I see Yeti now makes an insulated French press. I may give that a shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, pour over, you bloom it, and you have your hot kettle there, you know, so you bloom it, let it, 30 seconds, let the gases release, and it kind of blooms up a little, the more fresher the coffee is, it does it. And then you start pouring on a scale, you do your scale and all that. So you can turn on the kettle if you need to get it back up to, 204 or whatever, 202,
Yeah.
You got espresso machines are really nice, but then what makes it nice is that froth milk, a steamed milk, but then we want to put our butter and coconut oil in it, all that, so we might do that later in the day, a decaf one or something. But as far as your water source, you have a well. We were kind of looking into a well, maybe. Shouldn't all of us have a well and have our own water source? Wouldn't that be responsible?
Well, we should, except when if you start living in concentrated areas like suburbs and cities, it doesn't work well, no pun intended, at all.
Because isn't there a water table everywhere?
There is. But but you start putting, let's use the extreme. Do you think you could make that work in New York City?
Right, like in your concrete backyard, right?
Yeah,
your little 12 by 12 or something.
Yeah, there's not enough water sources without, and then you think of all the contamination. So now we have to have, water treatment plants, and it just doesn't work good for humans to live in concentrated areas. It just makes all of these toxic problems far worse. So, unfortunately, we're not all going to have a well, but I'm glad that I do.
Well, yeah. So I was looking into one where they go down 250 feet in the ground, and then they put the pump with, a generator, and it's powered to electricity, but I'm thinking if we had a generator, if the power went out, it would be hooked to that.
Wait a minute. There's another option too. You can have a solar powered pump. That would be your first fail safe. The second fail safe is a hand pump.
But it's so far down. I mean, but
250 might. I think I've seen pumps that will go to 100. Now the good news here's the beauty of where I'm at. Our water table is so clean. Our water's coming out of the mountains from the north, and there are no human beings. There's nothing up here. So we have a really, really clean water source, and there are people around me that their well is less than 10 feet.
Okay. So, yeah, that's right. They do go down to where we're at. They go down 250, but then the pump can sit up at like 100, like 160 or something. I don't know. But my question was, and what I've looked into, they put a tank above ground, and you probably don't have that or need that, but I was wondering if there was any type of filter that was needed, or for us, let's say we were gone, we don't always constantly running it. If it was storing water, wouldn't we be worried about algae or bacteria growing or
Yeah, I don't know
anything like that?
I don't know enough about this. I wouldn't want to store water above ground long periods of time. I just like I said, the beauty here is we don't have to go deep, so hand pumps can work really easily here. We have such a clean water table that I'm hesitant to do much more than really, really basic filtering just to get the sediment out, because I don't want to filter out all the good stuff. You know, you get crazy filters that are, you know, as true backups, I've got like Life Straw kind of filters. They filter out everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll get viruses, bacteria, everything out. But I also believe we're probably filtering out stuff we want. For the most part, I want to drink water the way it comes out of the ground or as close to it as possible. As long as I know I've got a really clean source, which is pretty rare these days. So for the most part, if you're going to have a well water, yeah, you should probably have a decent filter system as well. And you should test your water once in a while to see what kind of things you might be dealing with.
Yeah, we have a type of filtration system that's coming into the house. Yeah. The tank, they said the tank was glass coated or something inside, but we were just wondering if we're gone a lot, you know, maybe it's not a good idea then,
I'd have to
have water just sitting there.
I'd have to do more research. It seems like we store an awful lot of water for long periods of time, and it doesn't cause a lot of problems, but I'm not sure what the issues might be. Like I said, it's hard to find.
Backup.
Yeah, good clean water sources these days, but that's one of the reasons I like this area so much.
When you got Jake, when Tom was talking about weeks ago, that poorhouse, or you were talking about the poorhouse up there. You know, this house is, maybe they dug their own wells, huh?
Yeah, well, I grew up on well water. I mean, that was much more common, and I was kind of sort of out of town. I didn't really live in the country, but I lived on one street that was a couple miles outside of town, so we didn't have city water. We had a septic tank and well water, so, I mean, that's what I grew up with.
Wow.
And that's back to what I've got now. Yeah. And I do think that is as long as it's clean. But that's the problem. How many places now would it not be clean? I mean, think about just a suburb, and think about all the chemicals people put on their lawn. All that stuff ends up in our water supply.
Okay. Yeah. So we test it. We got to test it.
I would absolutely test it. More than likely,
lab or something.
If you are not in a really remote area, I would probably have a filter of some sort. When I was in Colorado, I had a well because we were so far up in the mountains, and we had a pretty heavy-duty filtration system. Plus, was it infrared? No, it wasn't infrared. It was blue light. Ultraviolet light that killed bacteria and that kind of thing. Yeah. So, but I still think it's far better to have a well water, test it, maybe filter it. Still better than city water.
All right, I'm gonna look into it too. Hey, when about the poorhouse era, was that the same era as like what we call Hooverville? When we were getting into when people got real poor, you know, they were calling it Hooverville because President Hoover, you know, at the time was coming into the Depression.
Yeah, that's
the same type era.
It was. That's when a lot of it started, and it's also there was a time where there were things called debtor's prison. When you got too far in debt, you went to prison over it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the poorhouse was kind of similar. You weren't allowed to leave. You had to go there and you had to work off your debt. And then we created bankruptcy laws and kind of stopped making people responsible for their debt. I'm not saying
Created what? Oh, you broke up.
Well, we created
what?
The bankruptcy laws that allow you to just run up a bunch of debt and then walk away from it.
Oh, bankruptcy. Oh, right. Oh, man, yeah.
I don't think I doubt that the answer is putting people in prison, but there should be a little more responsibility. You should,
right.
I mean, we've made it way too easy to borrow money and then walk away from it.
Yeah. So, one last thing was, if that Epstein guy, and his wife or whatever or his girl went to prison for evidence, that means there's evidence, right?
Well, it seems like it. I do have to say, I have never followed this story. I wasn't interested in the beginning. I'm not really interested now. If there's some big conspiracy and they release a bunch of names, then I'll know it. But I just haven't followed this one at all.
Yeah, I mean, they could make up a list, but if they have actual video, maybe that's how they could have got him, I guess. But who would record themselves, first of all, or who was recording, and then, it is definitely all that about bribery and all that, I'm sure. Right?
There's something
dirty
there.
World, dirty government world.
There's something there, I'm sure of it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. This has been going on for years now, and nothing's been resolved. If something big breaks, we'll all know. So this just a story I chose not to follow at all.
Maybe Trump's holding it as to get some things done now, and then later in the end, when something's not valuable, he'll release it or something.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, I was just trying to get Idaho Tom fired up.
Oh boy. Yeah, he'll be calling any minute. All right, Jeremy, good talking to you. Let's go to Ohio. Mike, good morning.
Well, how are you today?
Doing good. What's on your mind?
Well, I was listening, I think last week, to recording, you're making yourself sick, thinking too much. I just wonder how much of that has to do with the internet, reading all the stuff, the conspiracy theories, AI, all that kind of stuff.
The conspiracy theories, I've never just like the whole Epstein thing, I have spent almost no time on that one all this time that it's been going on. It's like I say, it's not that I don't believe in the conspiracy theories. You can read and read and read, and all you do is get frustrated because no matter what you believe, how are you going to prove it? A lot of people have tried. So for the most part, I ignore those. I don't spend a lot of time on those. During the end of the Biden, I was really watching way too much news, and that'll wear you out after a while. I watch almost zero news now. I mean, it's not even 30 minutes a week anymore. Used to be hours a day. So that's not really a part of it. For me, it is AI. A lot of it is. But it's AI. I want to understand it in a deeper way and find all the good uses for it. And we found a lot. But like I said, it doesn't... I could use AI to cut my workload in half, or I could use AI to triple my workload, and I chose to triple my workload. I see all the potential and the possibility if it's used correctly. So between all of that, and then it's summertime, so I love being outside and digging holes and digging dirt and planting things. And I do want to be wing foiling because it's summertime, and there's just too much I want to do, and I try to do it all, and then I push too far.
I had some success, and I've made some realizations lately, and part of that is, listening to you over the last 12, 13, 14 years. You remind me a little bit of myself. We, were not very educated in high school. We weren't indoctrinated into college, whether it was on the left or the right. I'm not religious, don't know anything about it. and you did go in the military. I didn't. So all of those, you get some part of a document indoctrinated into being a follower.
Right.
If you've done any one of those things. And I've never done any of them, so I've always been pretty neutral and been able to, and I can't debate people very well because I can't articulate very well. But that's one thing that I've noticed and that I always go back to is what's going on here. You know, is that something they've been told from college,
right?
Religion, military, and I use that a lot for myself. But I have a son that's total far left Marxist. He's my stepson, Marxist socialist ideology, and him and two of his buddies can articulate very well and are very convincing on this stuff. And it's pretty scary, but it's the same talking points that they all do that they've been taught.
Right.
You know, and but the funny thing about it is I get in discussions on Facebook with him, and it's always just his two buddies, him, and me, and I'm John. He knows I'm neither way, right or left. But I contradict the right, I contradict the left. But I'll get on there and I'll ask one simple question. You know, they were talking about the floods and whose fault it was. And it was the right wing's fault because, you know, the Doge and all that cuts, and they didn't have a warning system. They took the one, all that. And so I'll just ask a simple question like, where are all the people donating money to the atheists, Marxists? Where are the societies that are collecting money to donate to that? And they'll answer these questions in these long-winded big words. And their answers will go on in a Facebook post for, I mean, it's like a book.
Yeah.
Each one of them will have their opinion on it. And I'll say, but you still didn't answer my question. Just give me a name. Let's do the same thing. I learned it from you, Kevin. Just give me a name. You know, like you always say, why?
Right.
Just give me a name of where I can donate. And they can't do it. I literally have spent 2 days getting them to explain different things. And they're all upset, telling me, you know, I'm not intelligent enough to understand and all that. And then finally my son calls me and says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just proving a point that this 8th grade educated guy can make 3 guys that are highly intelligent waste 3 days of their time trying to convince me of one little thing. I spent 2 minutes with one post and you spent 3 days trying to explain this stuff.
Right.
I said, I literally wasted all this time and you don't even know that I'm trolling.
Yeah.
Who's the smart one here? And so I don't know if people get so worked up over this stuff that they get, you know, that they can't think, you know, and they make themselves sick.
No, they absolutely do. And social media has made it far, far worse. And it is, it's almost becoming a disease for some people. It really is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say, I just didn't know if maybe you was overthinking a lot of stuff and you get yourself worked up sometimes.
No, actually, I can't remember a time in the last decade that I've consumed less news than I do right now. I just don't think about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of feel like it, for the most part, I like most of what this administration is doing. It is what it is. I see a huge opportunity with AI if it's used right. We are in a position where we can do a lot of good. So my problem is not news or conspiracy theories or politics. It's work. And my recreation is physical work. And between the two, and I'm able to function on 3.5 and 4 hours of sleep. So I do. And then eventually it catches up to me. And I know it's coming, and I kind of hit the wall, and then I just got to back off for a couple days, and I'm sure I'll be here again sometime soon.
Yeah. Oh, that's all I had. I just wanted to, say that people get really worked up over these all this
Yeah,
stuff
they
and
do.
conspiracy theories. You just need to cut it out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it has.
and lay the phone down.
When it comes right down to it, all the things that people are arguing about, worrying about, spending all that time on social media, try to prove their point, most of it has almost zero to do with our everyday life and our quality of life. And in fact, the more you ignore those things, the better your quality of life gets.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to prove a point. I had Harris supporters and I had Trump supporters out there in Arizona where we live in that community. And so, you know, they're pretty hardcore on their thinking. So I had a Harris sign up on one. I live on a corner lot. So I had a Harris sign on one side of my house. Go around the corner on the other side, I had a Trump sign. And, you know, just try to keep the peace between all of us because all of us hang out together. But the one thing I was able to prove was, I go riding bikes and, you know, electric bikes with all of them. And, you know, I'll say, hey, I got a MAGA hat. You got a Harris hat. Will you swap hats with me while we ride our bikes down the street? It's kind of funny. The MAGA guy would. You know, he'd swap hats. But the Harris people, I wouldn't be caught alive with that hat. I'm like, well, who's the one that's more tolerant here, you know?
Well,
I've
know.
done that several times with people.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
And I couldn't care less, but, you know.
There you go.
Anyway, I'll let you go then.
All right. Good talking to you.
We'll see you.
All right. It looks like we're going to wrap this up for the day. We're right at the 2-hour mark. I'm going to call a lid for the day. I've got plenty to go work on. We've got about 4 weeks worth of Road Scholar material to review and finalize, and several other projects. So we will see you back here tomorrow morning for Coffee with Kevin. That is on letstrucktribe.com at the Gear Up level. So if you want to join me for that, come on over and join. Check it out. You're only committed for a month. You can sign up for a month and decide then if you want to continue or not. So letstrucktribe.com. If you're not a member, come on over and be one, and I'll see you tomorrow for Coffee with Kevin. That's 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. And then, of course, the Power Hour. We'll see you then. Be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey.